Good afternoon from the Eyewitness News Weather Center. I'm Meteorologist Lee Goldberg. Thanks for clicking on ABC7 NY. We want to keep you posted on this impending super soaker that we have to end fall and transition into winter. Winter, a little over 24 hours left in fall. Winter comes around 5:23, I believe, the early evening hours on Friday, and it'll be a very wet transition from fall to winter, although as winter arrives, the storm is kind of winding down in its rain intensity. But we have a lot of rain to go through over the next 24 hours, and I know it has big implications on your holiday travel. So want to get you ready for it, tell you when the heaviest times are going to be and see if you can navigate around it. First of all, let's go through the litany of watches and warnings we have in place. We'll go through a timeline. We'll go through a Futurecast. We'll even get you in a 7-day AccuWeather forecast that'll take us right through early next week, and there are a couple of snow threats that I'll address as well. All right, so a flood watch is up for the entire area. There's no real one area that's spared during this. I mean, certainly there'll be some jackpot areas that could approach 3 or more inches of rainfall, but in general, you're talking about an 1.5 inch to a 3-inch rainfall. Wind is an issue with this storm, especially along the coast. You have wind advisories for the Jersey Shore, New York City, Long Island, the Connecticut coast, and wind gusts could go up to 50, maybe even a little over 50 miles an hour at the height of this storm. And I think the worst winds are really late tonight into the first part of tomorrow. The winds may back off a little bit. We'll have to watch out for some strong winds on the return side of the storm, even into the day on Saturday. There's some high wind watches up towards southern New England where winds could gust over 60 miles an hour. Coastal flooding, there's implications with that. See, we're just getting into a full moon on the 22nd, so astronomically the tides are high, and we're getting these onshore winds that'll be pretty persistent with this storm that'll ripping out of the southeast at about 50 miles an hour. So you have coastal flood advisories on the north shore of Long Island, into parts of Queens and the Bronx. It's a coastal flood warning in Middlesex and Monmouth counties. So here in places like Perth, Amboy, and down to Sandy Hook, we could actually see some moderate coastal flooding. So you want to be aware of that. And this is the times of high tide. The high tide times, it starts in the Jersey Shore after about 5 in the morning and goes all the way to about 11 o'clock in the morning on the western end of Long Island Sound. So just a look outside. No one's using the umbrella just yet, right outside our studios on Columbus Avenue. And no real heavy coats either. I mean, it's only about 46 degrees, not too uncomfortable, and the wind is far from what it will be late tonight into tomorrow. The wind's fairly light. But notice, I mean, even our planner in the short term, as you head through the late afternoon into the evening commute, there's going to be some areas of light rain that comes in. In fact, I think we'll have a hit of light rain that'll take us through the early evening, and then maybe not a lot's going on after about 8 or 9 o'clock till things ramp up again after midnight, and that's when the heaviest rain starts to work in. Okay, so there's the latest radar right here. So sprinkles getting into the 5 boroughs, a little steadier in parts of Sullivan, Orange and Rockland counties, a little steadier in Warren County as well. But for the most part, this is just light rain kind of planting the seeds for this storm to come. It's a really impressive storm. If you look, you can trace the moisture from it all the way down to the Caribbean, so it's rich in moisture, and it's all just slinging it up the coast. There's one low right now that's right over the southeast. There are 2 tornado reports in parts of Florida. There were tornado warnings in the Orlando area, so it's a very dynamic storm as well. There's a lot of wind with it, so we're initially going to get this heavy rain moving in, and then once temperatures spike tomorrow and get into the 60s, things kind of get what's called convective, where we could actually have a couple of rumbles of thunder and some strong wind gusts as well, so that could actually cause some isolated power outages, especially along the coast. The thing with this storm system, and what we always look for, is storm track to determine whether we're talking about a snowstorm or a rainstorm. Well, this one is going to be cutting off to our west. So instead of getting any chilly northeast winds and producing any snow, there's no question with precipitation type in this event. We're going to get warm winds coming out of the south that spike our temperatures to near record levels. I believe records are generally in the low and mid 60s for tomorrow, and we'll be there. We'll be in the low 60s tomorrow. So that'll be coming up right to our west during the day. So let's take you through a Futurecast. Notice, we get this initial batch of rain through the early evening, so yeah, roadways are probably damp for the evening commute, but then there's probably a lull where there's not a lot going on mid to late evening. Temperatures kind of holding steady or even rising a little bit. Then here comes some of the heavy rain, so I figure after midnight we get into some downpours. The wind is starting to pick up. It's really nasty tomorrow morning into the commute. I'm concerned about all these yellows and reds and oranges. You see very heavy rainfall, and also the propensity for this to potentially train over the same area. That means that heavy downpours would go over the same area multiple times. I mean, we can really pile up the rain totals and cause some pretty nasty flooding right around that morning commute. I think we're going to go through some heavy rain through late morning, and if you even just look at this configuration the way it looks on the Futurecast, that would suggest more of a squall line nature there over Connecticut and Long Island, leading you to believe that, okay, warm front has come through, it's warm, it's unstable, there might be rumbles of thunder and gusty winds along the coast. At the same time, I think a lot of the area west of that line would probably be getting into lighter intensity rainfall, so I think the intensity may back off a little bit after the morning commute, but then there'll be one more hit, not as strong as the overnight, but one more hit where the rain can get a little moderate or a little heavier at times into mid-afternoon before things are quieting down late in the day and any flood waters are starting to recede. Streams are probably still rising at that point. That is a concern with this storm, and we'll probably be just showery by evening travel time into tomorrow night. So there's going to be a lot of airport delays. There's going to be a lot of backup on roads. We're going to be playing catch up as things start to improve during the early evening hours. There are many of you who have reached out on social media and say, what about my flight tomorrow morning? Some of you ask, if I have a chance to make it earlier, is that better? The weather is really terrible in the morning, but if you are traveling by air, better that the plane would actually be in place at the airport rather than coming in, because I think arrivals are going to be delayed quite a bit. So you have a chance of getting out, but it's very, very stormy in the morning, so there will be delays piling up. There will be some improvement into the afternoon, but again, things will build up and they'll have to play some catch up. By Saturday morning, temperatures may start in the mid and upper 40s, but there's a cold gusty wind behind the storm, so we might even hold steady or drop a little bit during the day. It might even be a stray unstable shower during the afternoon hours of rain or snow off to the north and west. Just a shower, not a big deal. Looking at just general rainfall totals, and I wouldn't concentrate on any one given place, but you can see, everybody's getting their share of very heavy rainfall, and some of the top amounts could get close to 3 inches of rainfall. And a lot of that is coming in that first hit that is late tonight into the mid-morning hours tomorrow. So there's no question that's going to cause some street, highway, urban flooding, also some rivers to rise as well. And then, of course, at the same time, you've got that high tide. So, the worst of this whole thing is really tomorrow morning, even though you'll get rounds of some moderate to even some heavy rain that extends into the afternoon hours. I want to show you how these winds evolve. So it's becoming breezy during the evening hours, but if you notice some of these reds and purples that come into play, we get in tomorrow morning and winds are howling along the coast over 40 miles an hour, even some 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts as you go inland. So that's probably the height of the winds. That will taper a little bit during the day. It'll probably just be, it's windy, but it's not as bad during the afternoon hours. Still some gusts at 30 at the coast. You even go into Saturday. Now your winds, instead of coming out of the southeast, have shifted to more westerly. We're drying out, and there's still some gusty winds on Saturday afternoon. So let me just sum everything up, and then we'll get into the 7-day into early next week. Although you have lighter rain through the evening kind of off and on, setting the table for everything, you're going to have rounds of heavy rain, and a lot of times I can give you a 6-hour window, an 8-hour window. But this is a kind of a prolonged event that may come in a couple of pieces tomorrow. So I'll have to say rounds of heavy rain late tonight and throughout a good chunk of tomorrow, at least into the mid-afternoon hours. If you have to say the absolute height of the storm, it's probably tomorrow morning leading into the morning commute. Figure 1.5 to 3 inches of rain. That's going to cause street and stream flooding, maybe even some river flooding. And then powerful winds will mean coastal flooding, mostly minor, but some moderate patches, and also some power outages are possible as well, and that would be more likely along the immediate coast. All right, let's give you a preview of the 7-day, which is still in progress before we get on at first at 4. I may tweak a couple of these numbers, but obviously we have an AccuWeather alert day for your Friday. Windy, rainy. Winter arrives after 5 o'clock in the evening. We're going to hit a high of 62, and then temperatures will actually drop. I should take that arrow. That's one of the tweaks I'll have to make. You'll see this arrow on this day. It's Saturday is the day when our temperatures will start to fall off. You see, we're 51 to start. We're falling through the 40s, and the feel and flavor of the day is really 40s, and even some wind chills in the 30s by late day. There's some sunshine out there that breaks out a little bit, along with a rain or snow shower, but there's still some clouds around as well, and then chilly on Saturday night. Your calmer day of the weekend will be Sunday, mix of sun and clouds there. Now, there's 2 little systems early next week that may hold out hope, at least in some areas, especially the northwest suburbs, that we see a white Christmas. there is a little clipper that's going to come through, little disturbance, and there's some snow showers or flakes that can come through Sunday night and early Monday morning. Now, if you look at these temperatures, you can see it could even be a snow or rain shower depending on the timing close to the coast. But inland, there probably would be some snow showers or a period of light snow, and especially in higher elevations, maybe we have a chance to drop a coating Sunday night and early Monday morning. So I don't want to wishcast, but at least that's on the table, especially north and west. Closer to the coast is probably too warm for anything to stick. So as we go into Christmas Day, you're looking at clouds breaking for some sunshine, about 44. When we get to Christmas night, I think we could also have another area of snow showers and flurries. So again, it's kind of a work in progress with the second half, so I wouldn't focus too much on Tuesday through Thursday. I still have to work on that there. But two opportunities for some snow showers, Sunday night into Monday, and then Christmas night is the opportunity for a few flakes. One thing about this year, and the last days of the year leading from Christmas to New Year's, last year it was frigid. I mean, we had 20s and teens. I believe it was even 9 degrees might have been the morning low going into New Year's Eve. This year does not look like that. We're not looking at severe chill to end the calendar year. If you talk about what's going to happen into January, there's potentially what's called the stratospheric warming event, which may happen, which when that happens in the upper atmosphere, that can lead to a cool stretch for us about 10 to 14 days later. So that may mean that we start to get into some chill in the middle of the month of January. And in fact, Amy, is the winter forecast that you did, is that on ABC7NY?
It is on ABC.
Okay. So Amy actually posted with that yesterday. That came out.
Came out yesterday.
Okay.
There's some stuff in there about El Nino,
Okay.
NAO, and Siberian snow cover.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Amy posted something on what's happening. The meteorological winter is December, January, February. But if we're looking at calendar winter starting here and what we're tending to see as we head into the upcoming months. Amy talked about where El Nino is right now, which of course an ocean signal which would affect the winter weather of the North Atlantic Oscillation, which is a pattern that could force more amplified storms and more coastal storms, and if there's enough cold air it would lead to snow, Siberian snow and snowpack to our north and west that may impact current air masses and weather systems that'll be approaching as we go through the next couple of months. So that's on ABC7NY. You might want to check that out. All right, so that's where we stand right now. Again, I'm going to work on the rest of this 7-day, but the big deal is if you can avoid travel, especially through the first half of tomorrow, please do. There will no doubt be standing water on area roadways. It's really easy to drive into that in your car to stall out. Try to avoid that if you can. It can be really, really dangerous. Turn around, don't drown is what we always say. And that's where we're shaping up. But a rough last several hours of fall into early winter, and then things will improve over the upcoming weekend. I'm going to get the rest of my show ready for Eyewitness News first at 4. Thanks always for clicking on ABC7NY for your AccuWeather forecast.